to call the June 18th meeting of the Mount Vernon Board of Education to order. Please stand for the pledge.
Next to you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It is.
Trustee Miller,
Here.
Trustee Williams, Trustee McOwen,
Present.
Trustee Ning, Trustee Jaros,
Here.
Trustee Saunders,
Here.
Trustee Torres,
Present.
Trustee White.
Present.
Quorum is present. Good evening, everybody. The Mount Vernon Board of Education recognizes the critical importance of community discourse and involvement in the education of Mount Vernon's children, and accordingly, members of the public are invited to speak at each regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Education, subject to the terms of board policy. Speakers must register in advance no later than 4 p.m. on the date of the meeting by contacting myself, the district clerk, in person at 165 North Columbus Avenue, by phone at 914-665-5235, or via email at rmccormack@mtvernoncsd.org. The board welcomes all respectful comment, whether praise or criticism. However, identifying and criticizing specific students, parents, teachers, administrators, or other Mount Vernon education officials or employees is prohibited. Such complaints must be presented and addressed through the proper administrative channels. Each speaker will be allotted 3 minutes, with up to an additional minute to be granted for the speaker to use to summarize and conclude their remarks. If appropriate, board trustees, the superintendent, or his or her designee may respond to those speakers' remarks at the conclusion of public speaking. Our first speaker this evening is Cynthia Crenshaw. Our next speaker is Norman Hauptman.
Can they hear us out there?
That concludes public comment.
Thank you.
Superintendent.
Report of superintendent.
Good evening, everyone. We have a few special presentations this evening, which explains our standing room only audience. We'll begin by first recognizing Trustee Rosemarie Jaros. Trustee, if you'll join me at the podium along with Madam President. This evening marks the final meeting for Trustee Rosemarie Jaros, and as the superintendent, I would just like to say to you how fortunate I think this board has been, this district has been, and how fortunate I have been to work with you in your capacity as board trustee. And on behalf of our district, I'd like to present this plaque to you that says, "Presented to Trustee Rosemarie Jaros in recognition of your tireless dedication and service to the students of the Mount Vernon City School District as a member of the Board of Trustees, presented June 18th, 2019. Madam President, would you like to say a few words, and then Trustee Jaros?
Rosemary, you will truly be missed from this board. I appreciate your time and your effort that you spent along as board member so far, 9 years? 8 years with us, so enjoy your free Tuesdays and your free call meetings, so just enjoy yourself. Okay, thank you.
It's really been an honor to be a trustee on the school board. When I first came on, my team and I had the vision, which became the 2020 vision. And those were the things that we had hoped would happen all along. And to see it come to fruition, it's sort of a sad time for me to leave, but it's a happy time because I've seen the district improve so much, and I'm so grateful for everyone who had a hand in the improvement. So thank you, and God bless y'all.
Moving on with the superintendent's report this evening, we have some special recognition this evening. I'm going to ask Dr. Gail White-Wallace if she would come and set us up. We have 3 awards, 3 categories that we're recognizing this evening. We'll begin with our Summer Reading Challenge poster contest. That will be followed by a brief 2-minute video that will highlight our Waterford curriculum and program that is designed specifically for our pre-K, K, and first grade students. And these are students who are being recognized as students who have reached a level of distinction in terms of their performance on the online support. And then finally, as it relates to Dr. Gail White-Wallace portion of this evening's meeting, our 2nd through 8th grade students will also be recognized. And tonight, those students that are here are being recognized for demonstrating the most growth throughout the school year and the highest usage on iReady between their home and school usage and our highest performers. Dr. Gail White-Wallace.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
There is no better reason to convene a board meeting than to celebrate our children, because that is why we're here. So today I have the distinct pleasure of recognizing some of the amazing work that our students have done. Our superintendent began about 5 years ago with the Superintendent's Reading Challenge, and I am proud to boast today that we have read over 210,000 books in grades pre-K. With over 2,100 students meeting the challenge and over 3,800 participating, it is always a proud moment to be a member of the Mount Vernon community and an employee here in the city of Mount Vernon. So with that said, we're counting down. We have 3 more full days of school left and 3 half days, and tag parents, you are it. But that means the reading doesn't stop. That means we are supporting our summer reading initiative, and we have some amazing students here today who have created original artwork that will be displayed on the Scholastic website as well as the Mount Vernon Public Library to get the students, get the parents, and get the community excited about reading. Are you guys excited? Yes! All right. So I'm going to call some students up, and students, if you could come with your poster and walk straight up on the stage and show everybody your artwork. Our first student, we have Mr. Matthew Samuels. Isn't he cute? Khadijah Lewis.
Baby.
Matthew, come around so we can see.
Kayla Humphrey.
Very nice.
Oh, that's lovely. I guess that-
Jaden Rivas. Mackenzie Lee.
Jada.
Chinese show us first. Nice.
Very nice.
Gianna Stanford.
Show us. Oh, that's nice. Reading is cool.
Excuse me and pardon me now with this name. Katya. Did I get it right? Yes!
Not going there.
Hakna Hurare.
Oh,
Oh, that's lovely.
oh, that's beautiful.
Are there any students that came in late?
Come on this side.
So we had over 20.
Wait a minute, some more back there.
Oh, we got more?
She must have just, I see her, yeah, she must have just come in.
Stratus Rahanis.
Very nice.
Marianne Henderson.
Very nice, I like that.
Adrian Moreta.
Nice.
Trevor
Wow.
Bright. Valeria Martinez and Gabriela Grande.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
All right.
Hey, we need some organization.
You want to fight?
Awesome. There's the motivator.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice, beautiful.
So all of our lovely summer
Very
reading poster
nice.
challenge winners are receiving a certificate. Guys, if you could step right out there, Mr. Senin has your certificate, and you also have a gift card from Barnes & Noble's donated for them that's in the pony, and your teacher will get it tomorrow. Yay! Congratulations.
Good job.
Beautiful
Aren't
artwork.
they beautiful?
We also had the opportunity today to host Fun-Filled Day at Fun Fusion, and I was able to chaperone our top readers. Today was the first day I ever played laser tag, and that was quite a workout. We won't be doing that one again. But it was a great time with kids, so I want to thank all those who attended and helped me chaperone. It was great to be with the kids in such a fun-filled day, so thank you. All right, Dr. White-Wallace, if we can move on to Waterford.
So we're celebrating the arts and books. Now we're going to talk a little bit about academics. So we're first going to celebrate my favorite people, the little people. So it has been our pleasure to partner with the Waterford Foundation all the way from Utah. And I'd like to welcome our instructional and sales representative, Mr. Steve Esposito, up here with me to give out some awards, who flew all the way from Utah to be here today. And we could not have done the work with Waterford, which you're about to see, without the three people who work arduously day after day. Ms. Sean Rowan, Ms. Caroline Calabrese, and none other than the man with the plan, the technology man, Mr. McGrath. So I'm not going to talk to you about Waterford. I'm going to let you see it in action. We have a 2-minute video, and then we're going to celebrate students who were nominated for their work and their academic achievement through the use of Waterford. Tech, are you ready?
that cloud? What do you think it looks like? I think it looks like a horse. What is a cloud made of anyway?
At this time, we would ask that the students who are here for Waterford stand. We're going to call your name, and we would like to thank the Waterford Institute. Each of these students are receiving a gift card for 2 people for movies and snacks to reward them for all of their hard work this year.
Okay, Caden's working up here. Marco? Come on, Caden. Caden. Hi, Caden. Congratulations. De La Cruz?
Be a proud papa, that's all you need.
Diana Mendoza? Sky Randolph? And Chloe Bodley. Sorry.
I like her spirit.
Well, Chloe.
Let's make some noise for our youngest. There were over 39 students who were nominated by their classroom teacher, and we utilized a very stringent rubric in a closed, sealed room to decide who would get these honors. So we are so proud of you. Keep doing a great work, and I would love to announce that all of these students have grown at least 1 grade level with their dibbles and their Waterford youth this academic school year. My last and final award goes to the students in grades 2 through 8 for their use of our iReady digital assessment. We are going to honor 5 students today, and it's so special because we sat in a room and crunched numbers and did statistics, and these 5 students have overcome the odds. We are honoring 4 students at the STEAM Academy for growing over 2.5 grade levels through their use of iReady from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. And we also are honoring our student at Grimes School, who has had the most usage in school and out of school with over 2,000 minutes of iReady usage throughout this academic school year.
Good job.
We are proud to honor Ryan Williams, Brianna Cobb, Fabio Riviero, and Zachary Emanuel for their growth this academic year. And they too are going to the movies on the iReady team. Congratulations, my love. And our highest winner for Grimes School is Michelle Ehedwa with her over 2,000 hours this academic year. That concludes our academic awards for today. I would like to thank the Board of Education for all of their support with our programs that we are implementing for the 2020 vision. But most of all, none of this could happen without the work of the wonderful parents at home, getting them ready in the morning and bringing us the best that you have each and every day. Have a happy and a safe summer.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Gail White Wallace, and I apologize to Dr. Gaon that she has to follow you, but Dr. Gaon will now recognize our special education Olympics, as well as our ACE students, which is the Academic and Career Exploration Awards for our students with IEPs. Dr. Gaon.
Adrian, you're doing it with him.
Go on up there.
Yes, Dr. White Wallace is a tough act to
Yes,
follow.
she
You should have put
is.
me first.
I should have, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
So I'd like to invite Trustee Saunders up, who is part of our SEAC committee, which is the Special Education Advisory Committee. In fact, she spearheads, she pushes, and she's really supported special education in a very strong way and ensured that our students had access to opportunities that students in general education have. With that being said, I'd like to hand the mic over to Trustee Saunders.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening. Tonight, the Board of Education trustees would like to honor some very special student athletes. The team is the Mount Vernon Knights of the Pioneer League. The team participated in 4 sports: indoor soccer, poly hockey, basketball, and volleyball. There are 25 competitions in total. Some of the other schools that participated were New Rochelle, Mamaroneck, White Plains, Somers, Carmel, Ossining, Lakeland, and Woodlands. All of the athletes did an amazing job representing Mount Vernon. They demonstrated school spirit, teamwork, good sportsmanship, and a desire to always try their best. They not only encouraged and supported each other, but also supported and encouraged the other team. Winning was never a priority. This team and league presents an opportunity for young athletes to be part of our school district in such a positive way. So I'd like to hand out some of the, you didn't have to put it, okay. Michigan Andino. Please correct me if I mispronounce. Dejane Ashman. Dasani Warham. He's not here. Dasani's not here? No. Mohamedou Trayali. Emmanuel Wafi. Taekwon Wright. Congratulations. Caprielle Nichols. Thank you. Kareem Parker. Maya Clark. Congratulations, Maya. Thank you. Martinsky Jean Claude. Congratulations. Thank you so much. All right. Don't you love it? I love it. Zachary Brown. Zachary. Congratulations, Zachary. Congratulations. Gregory Santiago. Gregory Santiago. Is he here? Graduating.
Thank you.
Smith, something's wrong with her.
Congratulations. Congratulations. And Gregory's graduating this year.
Near proximity, I guess.
Joel Taylor. Joel Taylor. Congratulations, Joel. Keith Newton. Keith Newton. Congratulations, Keith. Sarah Poe. Sarah Poe. Congratulations, Sarah. And Jaden Perry. Jaden Perry. Jaden. Congratulations, Jaden. And to our coaches, Rocky Anello, Mary O'Reilly, and Andre Upson.
Yes!
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So also, the following students participated. Can Miss Michelle, can you please? Where is she? Oh, here she is. Sure, take it.
She's one of my students, one of my grads.
Okay, I just want to say a few words about Miss Rochelle Fierce-King. She's taken on the transition program at the high school and really made a difference in our students' lives. She's created a horticulture center where the students have jobs, they water plants, they repot plants, and the students have flourished along with the plants. She's done a phenomenal job in terms of finding other jobs within our high school community for our students. So I want to say, first of all, thank you. And second of all, I'd like for her to recognize our outstanding students.
This was a hard decision. I want to just say that, first of all. Sorry. I can't leave here without my glasses, so I had to find them first. But three students have really stood out this year. The first student is Alejandro Torres Caranto. Thank you. And this award is for good work. It's a good work ethics award for his dedication. He will work until his task is complete and/or until his shift is over. If an area he is working in is unclean, he will go back and clean it as it is required. So he's definitely dedicated to making sure that he works in the He works in the cafeteria as one of the helpers for cleaning up the cafeteria. And so he's completely dedicated. I've watched him. He's learned the various things to do, and he's just making sure that when we go back into the cafeteria that it is clean. Thank you, Alex. Come on up. Our next award, it goes to Michigan Andino. Now, Michigan is getting this award as the Most Improved Student Award. He's reliable. Michigan has learned the importance of getting to school and his work site on time independently. I must share that last year, Michigan's attendance, I'm going to be honest, it was quite horrible. But he comes to school on time. He comes to school every day. Before, it was a matter of if it was raining or if it was snowing, Michigan was going to be absent. He is now at school, rain or snow. He comes by, even if he doesn't have me. He says, "Ms. King, hi," just to let me know that he's here. He's been recommended to several jobs because he's now able to come to school on time. He's graduating this year as well as Alex. Our last award, I don't see Dasani. Okay. Well, I'll just mention his name anyway. The last award is for Dasani Wareham for leadership. All day long, Dasani displays the characteristics of a phenomenal leader and good work ethics. As a leader, Dasani is a self-starter and takes it upon himself to guide his peers when they seem like they need support, and he knows what to do. So if you just look like you might need a little bit of help, Dasani will come on over and he'll come and help you. If one of his peers needs some support, he will whisper to them. He'll say, no, not like that. Come on. And he will show them what to do. So definitely a great leader. There are so many other students that throughout the years, they will be earning awards as well, but just a matter this time, we just needed to work on 3. But I appreciate you all for all of your great work. Parents, thank you so very much for entrusting your students with us. Good night.
You done? Good job. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Gaon, Mrs. DePaul, and of course Trustee Saunders for your leadership, your direction, your guidance. This is one of my favorite things to do every year, and thank you so much for what you do on behalf of our district and our students. All right, if any of our parents are going to exit before we get into the boring part of our agenda.
Congratulations, kids.
Yes. You're certainly welcome to stay and finish and join our meeting, but if you are going to exit, we'll take a brief pause now to do so. Yeah.
I just want to get a coffee or water or something.
Might as well go ahead.
Well, I
now.
still have a bit under my report to do.
Great.
He's good.
Everything okay?
Everything is good.
So excited.
Wasn't that funny? Aren't they cute? I love them.
It's the best. You've done an amazing job, Adrian.
I gotta get the.
Dr.
Look,
Hamilton?
they came out.
Yes.
The parents came out for this. They won't come to a meeting. All right.
Absolutely.
Aw.
great. I was planning to do that today.
That was nice.
Okay. Are you going to do it today or?
I was thinking
Yeah, I
we
was
should-
thinking
we
the
should
same
both
thing.
do it
Okay, let's do it
Yeah.
together.
I did, but no worries. We'll get it. Sure. I got the word and I figured I'd talk to you.
I've known Michigan
Oh, you have?
for
Dr.
years.
Hamilton, you know how to clean a room out.
Look at that.
Yes.
Boom.
That's nice.
Yes, I've known him for many years.
This is one of the
Okay,
most emotional
continuing on with the superintendent's report.
And I've seen him grow. I mean, he's come out of his shell. He used to, you know, that's.
Trying to see what I want to share. I'm going to share the best news ever, and this is related to our Smart Bond. We have an update on the Smart Schools Bond Act, which was discussed at our last meeting. At that time, Mr. McGrath outlined the plan, including our agreement. Maybe that would help. Thank you. At that time, Mr. McGrath shared the outline, including our agreement with New York State to pilot a new program that required us to revise our plan, which was approved at our last board meeting. Based on the new rules, our application included $44,000 that had to be earmarked to be shared between our local non-public schools. I'm delighted to report that yesterday at its state meeting on June 17th, the district's Smart School Bond Act investment plan was approved by NYSED,
Wow,
which
that's
provides our district with over $7.9 million for technology and security infrastructure, including funding for the former Nelson Mandela High School and Mount Vernon STEAM Academy's security and technology infrastructure, as well as updating the wiring and the wireless network and their PA system at Mount Vernon High School. The district is still required to follow the normal construction submittal requirements related to the wiring, which is already underway, and the network switch upgrades at Mount Vernon High School, which will begin this summer. Mount Vernon, by the way, is one of the first districts in the state to have the Smart Bond plan approved. So kudos, Mr. McGrath, for your leadership. And I'm just blown away. This district has continued to be trailblazers in many areas, and it's because we have an extraordinary group of people who work in our district and who serve on the superintendent's cabinet. And even amidst some extraordinary obstacles, Joe McGrath was able to facilitate this. And when I say just get it done, rather off the cuff, almost in jest sometimes, members of my cabinet always make it happen. So, thank you, Joe McGrath.
Thank you, John.
I'm going to ask Mr. Policio and Mr. Baviello to address change orders that are on the agenda for this evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Also happy to report we only have one change order this evening.
Oh,
Thornton High School. It's a mechanical change order. We were doing some duct work that was done by Freeman Mechanical, and it was supposed to be below grade underground. Once the ductwork was installed, several months after that, groundwater, unforeseen groundwater, came up, flooded the area, so the ductwork had to be now put above grade, and that was done, and hence created the change order. End of report.
Great, well, thank you. And lastly, under the superintendent's report, we had another food tasting session with the superintendent student advisory group last week, I guess that was. They also had the opportunity to meet with the executive chef, share their thoughts, their concerns, their accolades, and their criticisms. And so the students overwhelmingly agreed to support the recommendation to proceed with awarding Sodexo the food service contract, which is on your agenda tonight for your consideration.
Great.
And that concludes the superintendent's report for this evening.
Okay, I'm up next. First of all, I want to thank everyone for coming out on this rainy evening. I will also, I get excited when people around, kids, and I just love to have children at the board meeting and for their accolades of winning and doing what they're supposed to do, and for our teachers and coaches and TAs that are working with them, it just fills my heart. So I thank the Special Olympic team. I want to congratulate the Achievement Award for it, and also the Reading Challenge and the poster contest. They were just fabulous. Our young people are doing such a tremendous job here, so we have to give them credit for all the academic success we are having. I would like to congratulate all the retirees. They closed one chapter of their lives, and now a brand new chapter is opening. And to all retirees, enjoy, 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 because that's what we do. Because I'm a retiree. Love it, love it, love it.
You recommend it?
I do.
Are you sure you're a retiree?
Yes, I am. Except they tried to make me work a lot harder, this team, but that's all right. And this is my last official board meeting as president, so I want to thank everyone here. To my board, they are just fabulous people. I'm passing the torch on. And I really want to thank our parent liaisons. They make almost all our meetings. They come. Thank you for all your work. You have really worked hard this year. And I appreciate you, our board appreciates you, the community appreciates you. So continue the good work, and we'll see you around next year. And I think that's all I have to say because I can get I get started and fumbling and talking. So I'm not going to go there. But to everyone, have a wonderful summer. Enjoy it. Take a trip. See the world. And like our children say, read every night. That's it for me. Committee reports now. I don't think we had any reports, did we? Did you?
I don't have a report.
I do.
No, you do.
I do.
Trustee Miller.
Yeah, I also have to give a big shout out to, let me preface it by saying we had an excellent event on June 8th. It was at Holmes, the Beyond the Badge event. It was absolutely a gorgeous day. I understand a lot of people got sunburned. I'm sorry about that, but we managed to keep all the students hydrated. And it was a fantastic group effort, coordinated through the parent liaisons, Dr. BC, the school resource officers, Sergeant Starace. It was just principals and teachers came out also to support the students. Parents came with their students, and everyone had a really great time. I think Tug of War was one of the most popular events, and I saw students taking down the SROs, so they definitely were into the competitive spirit. We learned a lot, and I just really have to thank all the staff that were there that, we really had to improvise. We had, as Rick McCormick said, maybe we over-engineered this event, but it was the first time we'd ever done it, and we just had to let it go and focus on the main thing was that the children had a really great time. Everyone was safe, the message got across to them, and I was really delighted, and I really appreciate everyone who helped out. Our next meeting is the 27th, next Thursday at 9 a.m., where we have to really start planning out the Mind, Body, and Soul event, which will also incorporate another Beyond the Badge segment, because all the SROs and the police, Sergeant Stray, said they had a blast, and they really look forward to doing it again with us. So hopefully we can have this as a regular event, a team building event in the district. That's it.
And Michael McGowan.
Good evening. On June 12th, we had a policy committee meeting in the morning here at the Board of Ed, and we discussed 4 pending policies. The first was an updated version of the sexual harassment policy for the district. Some changes in New York State law occurred last year that requires some updates and some additional details that our old policy, which was quite old, did not have. So up for first reading this evening is a first draft of the proposed new sexual harassment policy relating to staff and administration, employees and non-employees in the district. For your information, there's a separate sexual harassment policy dealing with students, also turned to in due course. So that'll be up for first reading tonight. We also discussed something that has been in the works for a long time and is finally about to come out, which is a branding policy for the district, referring to how to enable each school to have consistency in how we do signage and refer to different buildings. So that is well underway. Not ready for a first reading yet, but that's well underway. We also we discussed very preliminarily discussed the transportation policy, which we're not ready to start yet, but we have some sample policies that now to start looking at the framework, which based on information that's coming from administration, we can start putting some meat on the bones, but at least we started with a skeleton of a policy that we can now adapt once we have additional information on the transportation needs of the district. And finally, and most exciting, we talked about the student board member policy, because to remind everyone, thank you public for approving us to have a student board member join us. After consultation with board counsel, we have a sample policy up for first reading tonight. There's actually some relatively strict requirements under New York State law. For example, it must be a senior. It must be a senior who has attended district schools for at least 2 years. So it can't be somebody who just recently moved into the district. And we have to have, the state law is not super specific, but there has to be a way to fairly represent the different high schools, all the high schools. Right? We only have one board member, and so of course that person can only be a student from one high school. So we talked in the meeting about different ways we might approach having fair representation. And what was proposed, and what is proposed in the first draft of the policy tonight is, sorry, before I get into that. The third requirement is that because we have a district-wide student council, the board member must be someone from that student council. It cannot be someone that the superintendent just chooses who hasn't been involved in the student council before. It has to be somebody already on the council. So somebody who is already kind of up to speed and knows the district and has a relationship with the superintendent already, which all makes sense. But anyway, in terms of representation, what we're proposing is that, of course, there will only be one board member who will be from one of the high schools. We're proposing that the superintendent also suggest and appoint 2 alternate board members who will not be officially the student board member representatives, but if we have one senior from each high school participate, that way we can have more voices and they can help advise whoever is the official student representative on the board to get a better coverage and better understanding of district events. Because we actually changed the policy wording to make it extra clear that this is an amazing opportunity for one student each year. But that student, they don't represent just themselves. They don't represent just their high school. They don't just represent all the high schools. They represent every student pre-K through high school in the whole district. Anyway, that's the policy that's up for first reading tonight. As always, these policies are put up on the district website. If any members of the public have comments, feel free to email me at mmcowen@mtvernoncsd.org. Absent any changes from legal counsel or from board members or the public, we anticipate having both the sexual harassment policy and the student board member policy go through a second reading and adoption at the next meeting. As a heads up, we'll probably end up doing the adoption. We'll have to move up the agenda at the reorg meeting and adopt that policy as the first item instead of at the end of the meeting, so that we can then immediately appoint our new student board member.
the students, the current juniors, weren't at the last meeting, so we have not had that conversation yet. Unfortunately, they had exams that day. So we'll have to schedule something special to get them in and bring them into the conversation.
Okay.
Great.
That concludes my report.
Thank you.
Excuse me, are
Yes.
you gonna let them elect a member, the students, or you're gonna choose the student?
I'm going to actually we talked about that at the committee meeting. We're going to actually create a process that I think would be advantageous amongst the advisory group, since the parameters are pretty specific about them being on an existing district-wide council. So we'll engage the students in the conversation about that.
Yeah, as a matter of state law, it's somebody that the superintendent appoints, and then we as a board confirm by majority vote. But it's completely, like you said, it's up to the superintendent. If the superintendent wants to create a process that makes them feel more involved, that's his prerogative.
Okay.
Oh, can I talk
Anyone
about the
else?
expo?
Yes, please.
Oh, I just wanted, this is not a policy committee thing, but I went to the STEAM Academy's expo on June 13th. It was phenomenal. Congrats to all of the high schoolers. It was an interesting, for those who didn't attend, so it's a pretty standard science fair expo. They had their little boards with the presentation. Some of them were on PowerPoint, some of them were physical boards. Very, very articulate students. I was very impressed at their presentations, but it was kind of funny because the problem that they were supposed to solve this semester was identifying a problem in Mount Vernon. And when you invite a bunch of high schoolers in Mount Vernon to talk about the problems in Mount Vernon, it's kind of interesting what they come up with. But it was, I mean, I have all 56 projects here that they did, and the vast majority of them were fixing Memorial Field, fixing potholes, and zombie houses. I just thought that was interesting. It's over 30 of the 56 projects. So I think the youth are tuned into the needs of our city.
Okay. Anyone else would like to say anything before we move on? Minutes, accepting the minutes.
Minutes of May
One of them I'm not here, but
7th?
which one is it?
May 7th.
I was not here on the 7th, right? My computer's not working.
Yeah, you were not here.
Okay.
Motion to approve minutes of May 7th.
Motion.
Trustee
Second.
Miller? Trustee White, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstain?
I abstain.
Motion carries. Motion to approve the minutes of May 21st.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Aye.
Trustee Jaros abstains. Motion carries.
Okay, we're going into executive session.
Going into executive session tonight to discuss special education matters and receive advice from legal counsel, as well as to review the employment history of a particular person or persons.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
Before we move, Dr. Ning?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a statement about Trustee Jaros, Rosemary. Her and I and Adrian, I think we started at the same time.
No, she was on before.
Oh, she was on before, but at least in our team, when we came, we ran together for 2 consecutive terms of 3 years each, so total of 6 years. And she's dedicated. She's committed. She's a true Mount Vernon resident who loved the kids, loved the schools, and I just wanted to recognize you. And we will miss you. And thank you for your service, your trust, and working with us. And God bless you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, we're recessed.
Will be
Hour 15.
at least an hour, 15, 30 minutes. Hour 30.
Motion to reconvene.
Motion. Second.
Trustee Giroux, second. Trustee Saunders, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
Opportunity for board members to remove an item from the consent agenda.
Wait a minute.
Adrian? you
No,
have one?
that was already removed, right? The one, I think was 8.2, was that
8.4.
removed?
Yeah, 8.4 is not there.
That
What
was,
was-
yeah, there were two.
That was all.
Yeah, there were two board questions on, three actually, board questions on that, so yes.
Yep, that was taken off the small, yep.
Anyone else?
Say it again.
Is the consent agenda through 14?
She's not on there.
Or through 13?
Through everything.
It's through everything.
Yep, goes down to 14.2 tonight.
Let's pull 14 too.
14.2?
Which one is that?
Just the meeting schedule.
Board meeting schedule. Oh, that was easy to move too, thanks. That was out loud too.
Is that only one?
All right.
Bless you.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Motion.
Trustee Torres,
Second.
trustee Giroux, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
And now 14.2.
Yep, adoption of the 2019-20 Board of Education meeting schedule. Motion?
Motion.
Trustee McOwen?
Second.
Trustee White? Discussion.
Discussion, I'm sorry.
Okay, so, just two things. First of all, can I suggest we have a meeting between July 2nd and August 20th? We just talked about during executive session, for some reasons why we might need one anyway. But if we know that, can we just schedule a date?
We had an issue, what was the issue with
The issue was availability of staff during the month of July, and we were not sure where we would be in terms of our hiring process. So the thought was that when the need arose, a special meeting would be called once there was a sufficient number of personnel items on the agenda.
How many staff do we need to have here in July?
So you want to squeeze one in between August 20th, July 1st, July 2nd, and August 20th?
Well, I think 7 weeks without a board meeting is too long.
Well, I think
So,
during the
so
summer,
would we
we've
just
done
have
one
a
month.
special meeting as?
We can just call it at the time. I'm just,
Special meeting at the time?
I think we all agree there's an exceedingly good chance we will need a meeting
Oh,
between
yeah, we're
those
gonna need
during
one.
that 7-week
We
period.
usually
There-
do.
They're just, the issue, the challenge was, we just didn't know between vacation schedules
Sure.
and availability of staff, and then the onboarding process for human resource items,
Sure.
which will be the predominant thing over the summer.
But we could end up scheduling a meeting for the end of July and have it be a short meeting.
And I also just remember that I also have the authority to appoint personnel between meetings.
Yeah, yes.
Exactly,
Summer.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to mention is, and I might kick myself in the foot for even saying this, is there any board member or soon-to-be board member who has an issue with these dates? There was a time on this board a few years ago where there was a lot of argument over two things. One, just personal conflicts, and the other, the fact that Tuesday night meetings conflict with certain other city meetings. I want to go on the record, I'm perfectly happy to keep meeting Tuesday nights, it's convenient to me. But I said on the record several years ago that I would never consent to a meeting schedule unless it was unanimous. I feel like it's important that all of us agree to the meeting schedule and we don't intentionally or unintentionally make it hard for one of the trustees to make regular meetings. So, anybody got a problem with Tuesday meetings or a suggestion to move it? And if not, we'll just move forward. It's okay. Yak's not here, but he's been coming Tuesdays, so
Yeah,
as far as I
so
know,
it's
it's a problem.
Right.
All right,
Okay.
so I'm good then.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
Unfinished business? I was going to get to it.
I should tell them.
That's why I need you right here. Any unfinished business? New, 17.1 policy, first reading. Student member of the board.
We do a motion now? What do we do?
I said policy first reading, so I'll read the beginning, and then if you don't want me to read the whole thing, then we could just say waive the balance of the first reading.
Okay.
The Board of Education will allow a qualified student from one of the district's high schools to serve.
I'm not going to waive this reading. It's a short policy, and I think we should all listen to it. It's like 2 paragraphs. This is how we envision it working with the new student board member.
Right.
Right, good.
The Board of Education will allow a qualified student from one of the district's high schools to serve as an ex officio member of the Board of Education. The student member shall be entitled to sit with the members of the Board of Education at all public board meetings and to participate in all board hearings and meetings. The student member shall not be allowed to vote, shall not be allowed to attend board executive sessions, and shall not be entitled to receive compensation of any form for participating at board meetings. The student member shall not be privy to information regarding the district employees, negotiations, or any other matters made confidential pursuant to applicable law. To be eligible for appointment, the student member must be a rising senior at one of the district's high schools and must have attended one of the district's high schools for at least 2 years prior to their selection. The student member shall typically serve a term from July 1st preceding their senior year through the following June 30th. The student member shall be selected by the superintendent of schools from amongst the participants in the district-wide student council. In order to provide equitable representation, the superintendent shall use all reasonable efforts to ensure that the district-wide student council includes at least one participating student from each of the district's high schools who could be eligible to be a student member, and to rotate the designated student member among the district's high schools from year to year. The selection of student members shall be subject to ratification by majority vote of the school board. In addition to the selection of a student to serve as a student member, as ratified by the board, the superintendent may designate one additional eligible student from each other high school to advise and counsel the student member and to serve as an alternate in the event that the student member is unable to fill their role. The role of the student member is to advocate for all students of the district, including all grade levels in all schools, not just the students at the school where such student member attends. The student member shall provide input and feedback to the board on all student matters and raise important student concerns to the attention of the superintendent and the board.
Thank you. Any questions?
I do.
Yes.
For the elementary level,
Mm-hmm.
they usually have, I guess, a president for their student council. So that president will report to the board member on what's going on in their school.
That's a great question. That's a question for you? Yeah.
Yes. So that the the student board member would be responsible for gathering information that he or she elects to share in their respective report. From, obviously, they can't do all 16 schools at every board meeting,
right.
but they should have and we will work with them to create a schedule for which schools they'll report out at the meeting. So during the course of the year,
All
schools
schools.
will have had an opportunity to be reported.
So we should make sure that every school has a student government or,
They do, or the superintendent's advisory council is represented by all
Okay.
students. So we could actually designate a portion of our already scheduled meetings for
okay.
that purpose.
And do you have, right now on the Student Advisory Council, does it include members of all 3 high schools?
Yes,
More than one person, like multiple? Okay.
yes, there's 2 from each.
each school.
Okay. And one thing that we talked about in the meeting, which is not going to be baked into the policy, but I think we talked about, we anticipate they will have a report, just like we have committee reports, that
Right.
each meeting will give them the opportunity to speak about student issues. Yeah.
And also, if you want to clarify the role of the alternate, is it when the elected, student is not able to fulfill his role? Or
Yes.
be absent?
Or both,
Both.
right. Whether it's a work schedule or
Okay.
just can't attend or, and my experience in the past, sometimes they would just, to give that alternate an opportunity to speak, sometimes they would both be at the meeting and he would just give the alternate an opportunity. In the event that he isn't absent or she isn't absent, they would still have the opportunity for the alternate to speak, so they're just not sitting there like an understudy.
I mean, by law, we have to approve, there can only be one person, and we approve them. But from a practical perspective, it's not like they vote anyway, so
Yeah.
you know, if they can't show up to a meeting, then I think it would be great to have an alternate who can say, no, I'm not the member, but on behalf of the member, this is the report of what we talked about. You know,
We'll
for
have
student
two
issues or whatever. Yeah, and by having two, that way we have all three high schools
Covered.
feel like they're, you know, they're represented. And then the concept was to rotate, right?
Correct.
So, I don't know who it would be this first year, but if it's from the high school this year, then STEAM Academy the next year, and Thornton the year after that, or whatever, just, but some kind of rotation, so it's not, you know, only the STEAM Academy every year, or whatever.
Okay.
Any more discussion?
Okay, and then moving on to 17.2.
17.2, new agenda item.
No,
There's no.
This is the first reading for the new sexual
first-
harassment
Sexual
prevention
harassment.
policy.
Policy first reading, sexual harassment prevention.
I move that we waive the first, I move that we don't read it out loud during this meeting.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So we just approved waiving the reading. The full policy is there for review by staff and council between now and the next meeting, and then we can adopt.
Mine's is,
Great.
I'll get it. I know what it, I wrote it
Oh,
down. Okay, any more discussions?
I'm sorry, I know I'm trustee-elect, but I just wanted to say, we went to the pool this weekend at Mount High School, and it was absolutely fantastic. The kids that were there were awesome. All the kids that are working were awesome. There were tons of families just doing whatever, and it was really, it was a very nice thing to see. So I just want to let everyone know.
Have we let the public know? Have we done a mailing to every household?
we have flyers that I thought we were going to have
I
tonight.
have them, they're ready to go. I'll print, they're,
We did backpack flyers, but you're talking about, are we doing mailings also?
Well,
We're doing
I mean, I've got
something
a lot of
nicer
people
and
in my neighborhood
catchier.
that don't have kids, they really
Yeah.
are excited to go swimming.
Yeah.
What's the status, Rick?
the flyers are ready to go. Them out before you go home, before they leave.
I don't even, the board need them.
No, but how are we getting them to the community? How, mailing them? What are we doing?
We're backpacking, we're mailing, we're doing, what do you call them? Street teams.
I don't know what that means.
Folks on the, our,
Leafleting.
Okay.
yes, thank you, Darcy.
And we know that a lot of the communities that wouldn't be aware of this, you know,
Right.
so neighborhoods, and we can,
Because if you don't have a kid in this school
Yeah.
district, you really wouldn't know that.
that's right. Great,
So,
that's awesome.
So email it to me.
Yes.
Any other business, any other discussion? Hearing none, I call this meeting to be adjourned.
Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.